Hi students, now we are going to study some important questions and answers in the chapter Best Christmas Present in the World. Here is the first question. What did the author find in a junk shop? The answer is the author found a 19th century roll-top desk in the junk shop. It was made of oak. It was in a very bad condition. The roll top was broken into several pieces. One of the legs was clumsily mended and there were scores marks down one side. The author bought it in order to restore it. The second question. What is Connie's Christmas present? Why is it the best Christmas present in the world? Here is the answer. When the narrator came to see Connie and gave her the box, she mistook him for her husband Jim. She thought that Jim had come home for Christmas. This was Connie's Christmas present. It was the best Christmas present in the world for her because Jim had written in the letter that he would come home on Christmas. She had read that letter several times every day to feel that he was near her. Now that he was finally there with her, she was extremely happy. The tsunami. First question. How are Magna and Alma's stories similar? Here is the answer. Both Magna's and Alma's families were washed away. Both of them kept floating in the sea for days. Magna floated in the sea for 2 days holding on to a wooden door. She was brought to the shore by a wave. Similarly, Almas climbed onto a log of wood and fainted. She woke up in a hospital, but the girls were traumatized after the incident, while Magna was seen walking on the seashore in days. Almas does not talk about the incident to anyone. Here is the second question. What are the two different ideas about why so few animals were killed in the tsunami? Which idea do you find more believable? Many people believe that animals possess a sixth sense and know when the earth is going to shake. On the other hand, some experts believe that animals' more acute hearing helps them hear or feel the earth's vibrations. They can sense an approaching disaster long before humans can realize it. This second idea is more believable. Glimpses of the past. Here is the first question. Who is an artisan? Why do you think the artisan suffered? Here is the answer. An artisan is a skilled manual worker who crafts items that may be functional or strictly decorative. The artisan suffered because the British were extracting very high taxes from them, which ruined them economically. Moreover, machine manufactured goods imported from Britain were sold extensively, which ruined the business of the artisans' handmade goods. Second question. How did the East India Company subdue the Indian princes? Here is the answer. The Indian princes were constantly at war with each other. They called the English merchants to help them in their fights. The people had no peace due to such constant fights. The rivalries helped the East India Company subdue the Indian princes one by one. Bipin Chowdhury's lapse of memory. First question. Why did Bipin Babu worry about what Parimal Ghosh had said? Here is the answer. Bipin Babu continuously worried about what Parimal Ghosh had said because he had shown that he knew many intimate facts about him. He knew about the bag of books, his wife's death and his brother's insanity. Considering that Parimal Ghosh knew so much about him, Bipin Babu couldn't say with conviction that he was making a mistake about the Ranchi trip. The next question. The author describes Bipin Babu as a serious and hard-working man. What evidence can you find in the story to support this? Answer. The author has described Bipin Babu as a serious and hard-working man. He worked daily in his office. It was a big firm and he was doing a responsible job. He had been with the firm for 25 years. He had a reputation for being a tireless, conscientious worker. The summit within. First question. Why is adventure, which is risky, also pleasurable? Here is the answer. Adventure is risky but pleasurable, though it presents great difficulties. Man takes delight in overcoming such hurdles. Everest is the highest, the mightiest, and many attempts have been made to climb it. According to the author, when the summit is climbed, there is the feeling exhilaration, the joy of having done something, the sense of a battle fought and won. There is a feeling of victory and of happiness. The physical conquest of a mountain is only one part of the achievement. It is followed by a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. The experience is not merely physical, but it is emotional and spiritual also. Second question. One does not climb a high peak for fame alone. What does one do it for really? Here is the answer. Climbing a peak means endurance, persistence and willpower. The demonstration of these physical qualities is exhilarating for a climber. The experience, apart from being merely physical, is also emotional and spiritual. It surely presents great difficulties. However, man takes delight in overcoming obstacles. Therefore, it is not for fame alone that one climbs a mountain. It is actually for the feelings of exhilaration and satisfaction. This is Jordis' fawn. First question. Why does Jordis want to bring the fawn home? Here is the answer. Jordis wanted to bring the fawn home because he felt that they had killed the doe for their purpose and the fawn had been orphaned for no fault of its own. He kept thinking about the hungry and scared fawn. He felt that it was their responsibility to take care of the fawn or else it would starve to death. Next question. How does Jordis know that the fawn is a male? Here is the answer. Jordis knew that the fawn was a male because the spots on its body were all in a line. His father had told him that on the body of a doe fawn, the spots are in different directions. A visit to Cambridge. First question. Which is the right sentence? Cambridge was my metaphor for England to the writer. Here, three statements are given. First statement is Cambridge was a reputed university in England. Second statement is England was famous for Cambridge. And the third statement is Cambridge was the real England. From this, the correct answer is to the writer, Cambridge was the real England. So, the statement 3 is correct. Second question. Which is the right sentence? The writer found Stephen Hawking's house. Here also three statements are there. The first statement is from the nearest phone booth. The second statement is from outside a phone booth. And the third statement is from inside a phone booth. The correct answer is the writer found Stephen Hawking's house from outside a phone booth. A short monsoon day. Here is the first question. Why is the author not able to see Biju? Answer. The author was not able to see Biju because of the mist that had covered the surroundings. Next question. What are the two ways in which the hills appear to change when the mist comes up? Answer. When the mist comes up, the birds fall silent. The mist covers the hills. The forest becomes deathly still as though it were midnight. Next question. For how many days does it rain without stopping? What does the author do on these days? Here is the answer. It rained without stopping for 8 or 9 days, since there was nowhere to go. The author paced in his room and looked out of the window at a few bobbing umbrellas. The Great Stone Face Part 1. First question. What was the Great Stone Face? Inside that, another question. What did young Ernest wish when he gazed at it? Answer for the first question. The Great Stone Face was a work of nature. It was formed on the perpendicular side of a mountain by some immense rocks that had been thrown together so that when viewed at a proper distance, they resembled the features of a human face. Answer for the second question. Gazing at the Great Stone Face, young Ernest wished that it could speak because it looked so very kindly that he thought its voice must be pleasant. He also said that if he ever saw a man with such a face, he would love him very much. Next question. What was the story attributed to the stone face? Answer. The story that was attributed to the stone face was that at some future day, a child would be born near there, and he would be destined to become the greatest and noblest person of his time. His face, in manhood, would bear an exact resemblance to the Great Stone Face. The Great Stone Face, Part 2. First question. How was Ernest different from others in the valley? Here is the answer. The wise thoughts of Ernest made him different from others in the valley. Ernest was well known in his valley and had become famous even beyond the valley. College professors and even the active men of cities came from far to see and converse with him. He received them with gentle sincerity and spoke freely with them of whatever came uppermost of lay deepest in his heart or their own. Next question. Why did Ernest think the poet was like the stone face? Answer. When Ernest read his poems, he hoped that the poet was like the stone face. The poet had celebrated the great stone face in his poems. Ernest believed that the poet's thoughts were worthy of him bearing resemblance to the stone face. Thank you.